Check this old sourwood tree out down here if you want to see something interesting. This thing has looked like this as long as I can remember. We had I don't know, a dinner type thing, picnic type thing, whatever you want to call it. Local bee crowd, and this guy worked with the Department of Forestry. Mentioned something that stuck in my head about black bears around here in Virginia. They hibernate in trees. You figure a black bear squeezing into a hollow log. Where in the world is he gonna find one? Somebody mentioned how sourwood trees hollow out. Well, here's an example. This one right here is almost big enough for one to get his head in if he was a tiny bear. I'm surprised that monstrosity of a swarm I threw right around the last week of May this year didn't come down here and check this thing out. There's a perfect little top entrance, and here's the back end of the thing. Yeah, wouldn't take much more than a bear could get in there. A small one. That would be a teeny one, but yeah, you fit. For a little bit, I'd shake about a half a 5-gallon bucket size swarm in there and shut the end on that thing just to see how they do. Not ideal, and no telling how far the hollow goes up in here. But that is a definite sourwood tree. Trying to figure how in the world nectar was coming in the first week of July, last of June. These fields are dry enough to burn off. Hadn't had rain in a month, and the supers were getting soaked. So I came down here and laid flat on my back on the ground right about where I'm standing, and with the binoculars, and watched the bees go back and forth from here to the house working this thing. I thought it was an old wives' tale. You know, old people talking about sourwood honey around here, particularly because this one is the only one I knew of or thought was around. And walking around back here yesterday, this was cut over, I don't know what, 2009-ish, 10-ish. And you do them a favor by cutting them down because they all get hollows in them. I'll show you what I mean. Just noticed recently that this is one too. And it's been here as long as I can remember, because shade has not been its biggest help. But that's a little sourwood tree right there, and it's looked like that as long as I've known it. All of my life playing back here. Thing ain't worth 5 cents, but if it was out in the open and you cut it flat to the ground, it would send a bunch of suckers up and bloom like crazy. You know, in about 3 or 4 years. But you can see the remnants of the flowers on this one. See them? This is why I came over here though. Look out across this where it was cut over. That nectar they started finding it about the 25th of June. And it really picked up around the 1st of July and ran until July the 10th. I believe July the 10th was on a Friday. It was the day after a bee meeting. I was telling the guy in there that I couldn't even get him to rob a frame dry hanging it outside. It was such a flow going here at the house. And the next day, that evening, about 5 o'clock, it cut off just like flipping a switch. So that's how that worked. So evidently we got enough of them. It couldn't have come out of teeny little flowers off the ground because it was so dry. Look at this one up here. Oh, there's one right there, a little bitty one. But this is a whopper. I don't know why they left it. It must have been one I drove nails in as a kid. Steps to climb up it or something. Can you see it over in there? See that? I don't know if that thing will focus on it or not, but yeah, that's one. They're around. I thought it was an old wives' tale about the honey because you don't see but just a couple here and there. You ride up and down the road about the first week of July here, you'll see the odd one poked outside of woods or something blooming, but it doesn't appear to be that many. The cut over land apparently is the best thing in the world for them after a few years. That's the one I was looking at, if it'll focus off of those branches onto it. Get up here somewhere where I got a clear shot at it. Try that on. Yeah, boring video on a few sourwood trees hanging around. Catch y'all later. Correction, that was July 11th when that cut off. I remember it just about to the minute. I just happened to be out there and I don't know, I was breaking down a hive or something, had a super sitting out there and they started robbing right then. It was just like cutting off a water spigot. Odd stuff, but I guess if that's only one single nectar source and it's that dry, it would cut off that quick. Anywho, curious to see how this year does. You can see the flowers on that one, or the remnants of them from here. That is flat, got a zoom on it. Unreal. Catch y'all later.